Hi, this is Renee Stanley for Movie Review Relay, and today we're going to talk about Ballerina. Yes, from the universe of John Wick. I must tell you that the first time I saw the trailer for the Ballerina, and it appeared that John Wick was threatening her, I had to think, we've never seen him actually work as a contract killer when it's outside of the realm of self-defense. There was this one incident in John Wick 2 where he accepted a mark to perform a contract. However, the victim took herself out, so I don't know. Because when we meet him, even in the first film, John Wick is already retired. All right, so we have this movie about this young woman. Eve Morocco is a ballerina assassin and begins to train in the assassin's tradition of Ruska Roma and sets out to exact revenge for her father's death. Ana de Armas is the ballerina. Anjelica Huston is the director. Gabriel Braun is the chancellor. He's the bad guy, the main antagonist. Lance Reddick is the concierge. He's played that part in all of the John Wick movies. Good looking guy. He's gone too soon. Rest in peace. Norman Reedus is Daniel Pine, a mysterious man. Ian McShane is Winston Scott, and he's a good friend of John. A lot of people thought of him as John Wick's father. However, you just don't know with these characters when they're going to have a twist and a turn. Winston's character is very shady. You may even describe him as duplicitous. However, we'll discuss him in another movie review. And of course, Keanu Reeves is John Wick, professional hitman, and he's a legendary assassin who gained a reputation for his skills. John Wick is a superhero. He never dies. He just keeps living until. All right, so the time period that John Wick is involved in, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina 2025, the movie time period is said to be between John Wick, Parabellum, that's 3, and John Wick 4, because he's confronted by all of these hitmen all over the world. They have this big contract on him, and he has to try to stay alive. If you remember the third installment, he did go to the high table. Number 4, John Wick 4, is the result of that. And I'll let you see it. I have all of the John Wick movies I've reviewed, so I'll leave the links down below. But I just want you to know that John Wick is the reason why anybody, I think, might want to see this film, because there is a cult following for the John Wick movies, a niche marketing base that you don't see in that many movies. So I can understand why they placed Ballerina in the John Wick universe, because everyone who loves John Wick will probably see this movie. Director Len Wiseman did a wonderful job in directing this movie. When you see the ballerina, you'll notice this beautiful landscape, this beautiful cinematography, and you will also notice how beautifully this picture is lit, this beautiful set design, wonderful shadows, and light contrast. The shadows, the profiles of each character stand out. If they're sinister, it becomes very dark, in contrast to tender moments, which take on a softer tone and look. The music is nice, and the fighting choreography was very creative, very inventive, very John Wick-esque. As our ballerina is using every object she has as a weapon to stay alive and survive. I think you'll like it if you're an action junkie, and if you like to shoot 'em up pictures, because that's what the picture is all about. You wouldn't see this picture for any other reason. It's not quite a love story, you know. All right, so 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. The Ballerina easily comes in at 3.5, and give it an extra star if you love John Wick like there's no tomorrow. Until we meet again, it's Renee Stanley from Movie Review Relay. Spoilers up next. Hi, this is Renee Stanley from Movie Review Relay, and some of you asked me for a spoiler. Okay, you're gonna see a number of cakes and pies. You see some food, that's the spoiler alert. Get ready. You know I don't tell everything, but I tell a little bit here and there. Okay, you wanna play? Let's go. Ana de Armas is the ballerina, and she does a fabulous job. Give her the credit she deserves. She not only looked beautiful, she was a kind person regardless of all the treacherous things she had to do. She had empathy, and you know what else? It looked like she really studied the fight choreography. Now, I'm sure the stunt person helped her, and maybe they sped up the film in certain segments to make it look more realistic, but she did great. Let's give her her props first. When the film begins, we meet little Eve Macarro, and she's maybe 9 or 10, and she's outside of this huge mansion. Evidently, her father is very important. That's why they have this huge mansion right by the sea and all of these bodyguards. She loves her father. There's a short scene in which you can see they bond together. He's evidently a good father to her, which is a rival tribe, a rival mafia family than the Ruska Roma. They're different. Eve's father tried his best to protect her. He did not want her to grow up the way he did and his relatives. He did not want her in this business. So he tried to protect the little girl, Eve, his daughter. However, he's outnumbered. They shoot him up. He's gonna die. And our little girl, Eve, picks up one of the guns after her father has been shot, fatally, really. He's on his last breath. And Eve picks up one of the guns and shoots one of the assassins so he won't injure her father any further. That might have been her first kill. And then there's a title card that lets us know that 12 years goes by and now she is a grown woman trying to train in the Ruska Roma. You see the trauma that she endures. Winston knows everything. Winston arrives and takes Eve to Anjelica Huston's character, the director. He knows who killed her father, and he's seen these girls being orphaned before, so he does what he's done evidently with other girls. He brings these orphan girls to Anjelica, the director. She has a whole class of ballerinas that she's training. She just adds Eve to the list or to the members of that class. And this class is very important because it trains her not just as a ballerina to be graceful and beautiful, the whole thing. It trains her to endure pain. You'll see scenes of her feet bleeding. And if you know ballerinas in real life, you understand that this is very painful to them. Not to this extent, but yes, some of them do have bleeding feet, the whole thing. All right, so once she finishes the ballerina training, we're going to go 12 years forward in time. And now she's given these assignments that she must do as an adult now. So some of the assignments is, of course, she's an assassin, but then the other assignments she's training, and as she's training, she gets advice from this one woman, this beautiful black woman. Her name is Sharon Duncan-Brewster, and she plays Noga, and what she does is she teaches her how to survive. And she tells Eve, and I'm paraphrasing now, you are half the weight of some of these men. These men are twice your weight. They might be much taller than you, much bigger. How are you going to fight and win? Sometimes, yeah, you got to cheat. She doesn't say it like that, but you know what I mean. You use whatever you can. If you have to kick him in the you know what, kick him between the legs. Some of the male audience members that I was viewing the movie with, they gasped when Eve would kick or shoot these guys in between the legs. If you see an iron around you, ice skates, whatever you can use as a weapon, you use that, okay? And then you'll survive. She teaches this girl, Eve, how to survive in an environment where you're outnumbered and you're outweighted. Noga is a very important character because she has conference with the director, so they're close. However, she's not in the film that long, but her part is substantial and significant. Some audience members felt with all the training that Anna had that her physique should look more like Linda Hamilton in the 1991 science fiction film Judgment Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You need to understand that Gabriel Byrne is the villain, he is the Chancellor. The Chancellor is the one who put out the order to kill Eve's father. And the reason why is because he's ordering all these deaths. He's trying to get this retribution. He claims that there's something that happened with his son's wife. So he's claiming these children. He's already claimed the older sister of Eve, we find out early in the movie, and now he's trying to claim her. The Chancellor is surrounded by many bodyguards, so it's hard to get at him. But then, of course, he has so many people who are surrounding him who will always protect him. They'll fight to the death. So Eve has a hard time trying to find the Chancellor, first to locate him and then to try to take him out. And that's also the fun of the movie because, as you know, John Wick is all about taking people out. That's it. There's no, there's a little bit of a plot. But you and I know the real thing is the action. We love to see this guy in action, and we love to see Eve in action too. As I said, our girl Anna did a beautiful job. Is the film visually as nice as the John Wick films are with all the lights in New York and stuff? There were two nice shots of the Manhattan skyline in New York, but nothing as extensive as some of the other movies. We also will notice that when you put John Wick in a movie like this, you've already spoiled it because you know he's going to survive for John Wick 4 and maybe 5. All right, so he's not really dead, I guess. I don't know. They never showed the body in 4, which I did mention in my video if you watch it. All right, it's fine. So we know John isn't going to die. So the question is, did John kill Eve? The answer is no. If anything, he helped her survive, giving her advice, because remember, he's on the run, and now she's on the run because the contract's put out on her too. All right, make a choice. You can defend yourself. Evidently, you have the skills, and I'm paraphrasing again. I'm going to try to protect you, and he doesn't say that per se, but I must tell you, there is a segment where Eve is fighting John Wick. He's telling her to go home, go home. If you get out of here by midnight, I'll let you live, you know. He could have shot her 3 times, maybe 4, but he's giving her a chance to retreat. She's telling him straight up, I'm not going anywhere until I kill the Chancellor because he had my father killed, you know, the whole thing. So it's 11:23. Remember, he gave her till midnight, and he gave Eve midnight as a deadline to get out of town because the director had already said, I want the girl dead by midnight. So he made the decision to protect her and help her get out if she would just leave. But he does. He has a heart. He's a killer with a heart. But that's the big spoiler. No, yeah, she lives to the end. She actually goes and sees one of her friends who she trained with. She'll see her at the ballet. It's kind of poignant at the end. And of course it sets up for a sequel because of course she has this contract out on her now the same way John does. So I don't know. Will we see her in John Wick 5? I don't know. Anyway, I love you guys. It was good seeing some of you at the movies. I'll see you next time. Until we meet again, it's Renee Stanley for Movie Review Relay. God bless.